Hi, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Miracle, and I'm an executive director in the account opening and activation space in consumer and community banking. I'm focused on making sure our customers have an awesome experience as they open accounts with Chase. We are so thrilled that you're here. This program has been developed to simulate the type of work expected of students during the firm's summer internship. It lets you build real-world skills and experience while understanding how much you enjoy the work. The program contains 6 tasks that build on each other. It takes approximately 5 hours to complete this virtual experience. During the experience, you'll learn how to work on the Scrum team, the various events that Scrum recommends, and your role within each. You'll have the opportunity to practice backlog refinement, estimation, stand-ups, sprint reviews, and retrospectives. If you don't know what those are, don't worry. We'll teach you. By taking the time to complete the JPMorgan Chase Virtual Agile internship, you'll gain practical career skills and experience to use on your resume. You'll close the gap between what you learn in the classroom and what you do on the job. And for those of you who complete the program and apply for the firm's Summer Software Engineer internship, your application will be prioritized for review and follow-up. When you work at JPMorgan Chase, you're not only working at a global financial institution, you're also an integral part of one of the world's largest tech companies. In 16 strategic technology locations worldwide, our team of more than 50,000 technologists design, build, and deploy everything from enterprise technology initiatives to big data and mobile solutions, as well as innovations in cloud development, electronic payments, cybersecurity, and machine learning. As an intern in the firm, you will dive headfirst and gain hands-on experience creating innovative solutions. You'll work on Agile teams with peers and experienced software engineers. At the end of the summer, top performers may receive the opportunity to join us for a full-time role on graduation. As a full-time software engineer, you'll own projects end-to-end. You'll keep teams and stakeholders up to speed on the progress of what's being developed. You'll also have the opportunity to participate in our Force for Good program to develop real-life tech solutions for social good organizations while learning new skills and collaborating with our JPMorgan Chase technology experts. As a firm, we're partnering with FinTech and Silicon Valley tech firms to deliver cutting-edge solutions to our clients and customers. Our $12 billion annual investment in technology enables us to hire people to create innovative solutions that will not only transform the financial services industry, but also change the world. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to this JPMC Agile virtual experience. My name is Prasida Badami, and I am an agility lead in CCB Digital Account Opening and Activation. I have been at the firm for 9 years, and my most favorite part of working here at JPMC is the ability to constantly learn and expand my skill set. I commend you on your interest in a career in technology here at JPMC. It really is an exciting time to work in technology here in JPMC. Globalization, evolving regulatory frameworks, blockchain technology, mobile enablement, artificial intelligence and machine learning, quantum computing, and many other profound changes and innovations are driving new challenges and new opportunities in the economy generally, and in banking and financial services in particular. At first glance, JPMC might not seem like the likely place to find one of the world's biggest tech companies. But that's exactly what we are. We invest more than $12 billion annually in technology across our cloud, cyber, digital, markets, and payments businesses. We develop innovative software solutions that impact the day-to-day lives of customers, clients, and businesses around the world. At JPMC, you will work in an open, collaborative, and supportive culture where our Agile teams are constantly innovating, learning new skills, and leading the development of new technologies and solutions. I am so excited to get you started on your Agile learning journey. Over the 6 modules in this virtual experience, you will learn about the principles of Agile software development and the Scrum methodology, which is the type of Agile method we use most of the time here at JPMC. Your journey starts with exploring the philosophy and principles of Agile and the advantages of Agile software development. Good luck!
Hello, my name is Ki Chen. I'm an Agile lead and engineering coach here at the Asset Wealth Management Product Office of JPMC. I have been in this role for 3 years. And welcome back. Congratulations on finishing the first task. You develop a deeper understanding of the principles and advantages of Agile. Agile is a big part of how we manage projects and teams here at JPMC. A solid foundation in Agile principles is a critical skill for success in your career in technology. And being able to contribute effectively and creatively to an Agile team will make you a software engineering rock star. Now we will turn our attention to the specific implementation of Agile that we use most often here at JPMC, Scrum. Scrum emphasizes self-managed cross-functional teams, short work periods called sprints, and a defined process for continuous improvement. In this task, you will explore the Scrum development process, including the team roles, the team products, and the key events during a sprint, and the process for continuous improvement. Let's get started.
Your seatbelt and hold on tight because today we're learning how to get started with Lucidspark in under 5 minutes. If you're new to visual collaboration, you may be unfamiliar with the term virtual whiteboard. Basically, it's a space where people come together to interact, write, and share ideas. But Lucidspark is so much more than that. It's the only solution designed to help you throughout your workflow. Whether that's brainstorming and ideation, project planning and facilitation, or even organization and evaluation. Can I get a water? With an infinite number of use cases, it can be challenging to know where to begin. We've structured this video to teach you the essential skills that you'll need to start turning your ideas into reality. To get started, visit lucidspark.com and sign up for a free account, or sign in if you already have one. Doing this will direct you to your homepage. Here you can view and organize boards, create and manage folders, and access templates. You know that old saying, cheaters never prosper? Well, that's not exactly true when it comes to templates. Using a template will save you so much time and effort, you'll feel like you're cheating. In a good way. I can say that, right? Click here to view our most popular templates, or type in a keyword to search for something specific. If you decide to start from scratch, click the plus new button, Lucidspark, and then blank board. Once you're in your workspace, start by giving your board a name. This will make it easier to find and reference in the future. Now that we're all set up, it's time to have some fun. Navigate to the primary toolbar, then drag and drop or select and click to add an object to your canvas. Hover over an icon to learn what it is, or just give it a try. You can always undo your latest action by clicking here. To move an object, just click and drag. To resize an object, click on it and then drag one of the blue circles that appear around it. Double click on an object to add text. Here, you can edit the size, format, and font family of the text. And when you're finished making changes, click outside the object to complete your edit. Now that we've got multiple objects on the board, we'd better talk about navigating the canvas. To do this, right-click on your mouse or use a two-finger scrolling gesture on your trackpad. To zoom in or out, hold the space bar and scroll, or if you're on a trackpad, use the pinching gesture. If you need to move across a large area quickly, use the mini-map found here. Oh, shoot, sorry. Just need to answer this real quick.
Hi there.
Hey, Morgan.
Oh, sorry. Am I interrupting something?
A little bit. I am training some of our users on how to use Lucidspark right now. Say hello.
Hi, everyone.
What can I do for you?
Well, I don't want to hold you up, but we've got our team activity coming up in a few weeks. I've already had some team members add their ideas to a Lucidspark board, but I'm wondering if you'd be willing to add a few as well.
This is perfect. You could learn a thing or two. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to help you with this, Morgan.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I can take over for you. You can invite others to your Lucidspark board at any time. Just click the share button and choose the sharing option to my computer. Click the sticky note, then the emoji face, and select the heart emoji. For on team's ideas on the board, it's time to synthesize. Not that kind of synthesize. I'm talking about collecting and grouping ideas in order to make sense of them. Lucidspark helps you bring your best ideas to life with features like tags, voting, and powerful gather and sort tools. To tag an object, click once and then select the tag icon from the menu. Type in your tag classification and continue until you've tagged everything you need. Now navigate to the organize icon. Select the method you'd like Lucidspark to use to organize your ideas and watch the magic happen. This looks incredible. Now we just need to schedule a follow-up team meeting so we can use the voting feature to select our next activity.
I'm back. Thanks for taking care of everybody, Morgan. We've got some really good ideas for team activities. I'm especially interested in the team tattoos.
Yeah, okay, we'll see about that. As always, thanks for watching, and be sure to check out our other helpful resources at training.lucid.com.
Hey guys, I'm Joshua Cho. I've been at Chase for 5 years, and I'm an executive director within the digital products organization, working within the acquisition offers and capabilities product area. I love working at Chase because there's always something new, whether it's a new benefit or a product or a service or technology and capabilities that we're doing that impact millions of customers on a day-to-day basis, which I think is pretty cool to work on. And so welcome back. Congratulations on finishing the first 2 tasks in this virtual experience. You did a lot of reading and building your knowledge of base concepts, terms, and benefits of working on Agile Scrum teams, so great job. Now we will turn to focus on some hands-on work. In this task, you will wear the product owner hat and begin to develop a product backlog for your Scrum team. Product owners are the champions of the product for the Scrum team and are responsible for building the right thing. They must understand the customer's requirements for a product and the business outcomes and benefits the customer wants to achieve. Determining what to build and in what order starts with documenting customer requirements in a way that captures their actual real-world needs and experience. And so one common way to do this is to write short descriptions called user stories. Great projects always start with great requirement definitions, and so learning to write effective user stories is an important skill for every member of any Scrum team. So good luck.
Hello, my name is Damian Jolks, and I've been with JPMorgan Chase for almost 7 years. I currently work in wholesale lending technology within a commercial banking line of business. Out of the many things I love about JPMorgan Chase, I would have to say my most favorite is their ability and their effort to hire diverse talent across the board. I just want to say welcome back. In the prior task, you practiced the skill of writing user stories as the first step towards building your product backlog. Well done. Writing user stories is not an easy task. Effective backlog development and management is critical to the success of any Scrum team. But writing user stories are only the first step in developing an actionable product backlog. The Scrum team needs to also add detail to the user stories to describe how they will be accomplished, breaking larger stories into smaller ones if they do not fit in one sprint, estimate the level of effort required to complete the user story, and put the stories in priority order. This process of refining the backlog is done iteratively and regularly to keep the product backlog as accurate, up-to-date, and as prioritized as possible. In this task, you will explore the goals, process, and benefits of backlog refinement and practice ranking your user stories by relative level of effort using a technique called story points.
Hi, I'm Martin. Today we're going to be talking about planning poker. Planning poker is a great way to estimate items relative to each other, as opposed to giving absolute estimates in hours. So for planning poker, you need planning poker cards and a bunch of user stories. So planning poker cards have the sort of Fibonacci range. They go from 0 all the way up to 100. This increased skill incorporates complexity and takes into account more uncertainty the higher the estimate is. So for planning poker, you also need a baseline to compare user stories to. So here we have a user story, and this user story we all agreed upon is going to be our baseline. So we're going to be assigning a 3 to that. So with this in mind, we're going to be estimating the next user story. This is the next user story. So we're going to read this out to the entire group that's present, and then each individual is going to come up with an estimate for themselves, and then when everybody has an estimate, we're going to share that. And we're going to practice that right now. So let's estimate this user story. We all good? Okay, let's put them at the table. All right, all 5. So as you can see here, we all agree about this estimate. And this is all there's to it at this point, because we apparently all agree that with 5 story points, we can get there. So I'm going to write down the 5 with the user story, and we're going to move on to the next one. Again, for the next one, we're going to be comparing that to the 3 that we had initially. So let's estimate this one as well, guys, and let's start all over. We all good? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's give the estimates. All right, so we have a half, a 2, a 8, and a 40. So this is the point in planning poker where you're going to be having a conversation, because obviously the team disagrees of the effort that is required to finish this user story. And that's the power of planning poker. If you agree, write it down, move on. If you disagree, have the conversation and have another round. This was planning poker in a nutshell. Thank you for watching.
I'm Chek from SIT, Singapore Institute of Technology, and in this video we're going to talk about the sprint review, which is the end of a sprint cycle. So in a sprint review, the most important thing when coming into the review meeting is to have a release, or what is known as a shippable product. So what this means is that your product should be as usable as possible so that all the stakeholders can give meaningful feedback in this process. So in this sprint review process, a key task to be done is to decide each feature of the product, whether they can be deemed as completed or not. And how this is done is basically looking at the user story related to each and every feature and all the acceptance criteria that is on the user story that has been decided in the sprint planning. So for each one of these acceptance criteria, the team as a whole will decide whether they can be checked off. And once every single of this acceptance criteria can be checked off for a particular user story, then we can move this user story that has all the acceptance criteria checked into the completed column. And that is the gist of the sprint review process. So now we look at a video of a real software development project that we have done recently to look at how the sprint review process can be applied. Alright, so welcome to the sprint review. This is the second sprint. So the sprint review meeting starts with the Scrum Master, which is me, as you can see here, hosting the review session, as with all other Scrum meetings. So the sprint review, it involves the most participants, as you can see, all the people around the table here, as it is the review of the app itself. So in ideal circumstances, the stakeholders and the users would be able to play with the app. But in lots of real-world sprint reviews like what we have here, it is done in sort of a presentation/demo kind of a format by the developers due to time and other constraints. So in front of the table, you can see the 2 developers as part of a development team here. I'm sitting right at the front because I'm sort of like the host. And then Kerbun, who is the product owner, is sitting beside me. And then we also have all the other stakeholders, including the director of the client team, and then the designers, one on each side, as well as a research professor who is using the app for research purposes. So after the Scrum Master has kicked off the meeting, the product owner then reminds everybody of the sprint goals. This is before the developers proceed to demo each one of the features. The review in general will be performed against the user stories agreed during the sprint review, which is what you are seeing on the presentation screen over here on this Jira software that we use to manage all the user stories. Developers will then demo the completed features one by one according to each one of the user stories, and everyone will have an opportunity to give feedback around the table as the developers are demoing the features.
So if this trait doesn't have some trait, right? Or it will be affecting the main trait.
And here we can see the product owner actually giving feedback about the feature that's being demoed on the screen right now. And the product owner will most likely be the most active as he's sort of responsible for the user stories right from the start, from the sprint planning. So in the sprint review as well, he will likely be the person who's going to regulate this process, showing each user story and determining whether each one of them can be completed with the views from the team. And next, you can see some action from the other stakeholders. For example, here you see one of the designer users actually giving feedback on the feature on the screen, discussing in detail how this feature that is shown on the screen should exactly work. And this is an example of something that is key to the sprint review, as the discussion would lead to a decision on whether this user story can actually be completed or not. As a key task to be performed is actually this. For every single user story to be evaluated by the team and looking at each one of the acceptance criteria on the user stories and determining whether these user stories can be completed. So this process is usually regulated by the product owner. So he will make the call after assessing all the feedback from the stakeholders. If there are any changes, then the product owner will actually note it down and use this information for the next sprint planning in the next sprint cycle. And so this will be repeated for every single user story. And once there is a decision made for every user story, the Scrum Master will actually declare the end of the review, and then we will move to the sprint retrospective. So that was the sprint review from our perspective of a real software development project. In a nutshell, the sprint review is actually the whole team trying to evaluate the release or shippable product. So once the sprint review is done, normally the development team would stick around whilst the stakeholders and users would leave the room for the sprint retrospective to take place. And this sprint retrospective meeting will be covered in the next video.
Welcome back. My name is Joanna Borba, and I have been with the firm for the last 4 years and am currently a software engineer within our corporate and investment banking space. Great job refining and prioritizing your product backlog. You may have felt like you didn't have enough information to make such prioritizing effort estimates, but in the real world, you often don't have a whole lot more information than you do now when you are first developing a product backlog. Of course, your estimates will get better over time as you gain more experience doing software engineering, but getting comfortable operating quickly and with agility in the face of little or low quality data is going to be an important skill for your career. That product owner hat looks pretty good on you. So now we switch gears and put on a new hat, that of a developer. The Scrum team developers coordinate their work and support each other's efforts using a short daily meeting called a daily stand-up. The daily stand-up meeting, also known as a Scrum or daily Scrum, is a 15-minute get-together that helps teams stay aligned and prepare to have a productive day. It is the main mechanism in Scrum to drive sprint productivity and effectiveness. So conducting such meetings effectively and participating in them productively is critical to team and project success. In this task, you will learn more about daily stand-up meetings, including their structure, the characteristics that make for a great stand-up meeting, and the common pitfalls to avoid. Go ahead, put that developer hat on now.
Before we're done, the investigation into offline mode and what options are good. Any more yet?
I finished my Ivy Code Complete, and the bad news is I've started IMS Code Complete, and I've already found a defect. As I find defects, I will let Robert know, and if it starts to get too much for Ben, I'm sure he will start getting it, as acceptance is only a week away. So as I'm testing... I have 2 user stories. They might get pushed. Anyway, so as I'm testing, I will check for these completed ones as well, for currency on forms, for some Webpack stuff on dev as I test, because dev is up. This is also good news.
I won't go into acceptance.
No. But I'll do checking on both branches.
For sure. Okay, so I am done. So I'm migrating the statics column. I wrote the script that loads the other script. So that's working. So now I'm on to creating a controller that will call for those statics, that code will call for an object instead of code.
All right. I spent the whole day yesterday working on a single defect. It's the time zone defect with past due notifications being sent a day early. And I found partial solution to it, but the main thing I discovered is that it's a hard problem to solve. We wanted to talk to you, Andrew, yesterday, but you were busy at the time.
Okay. I saw this morning.
Okay. Yeah. I spoke with Robert about it, and it's actually kind of a tricky situation. So.
Okay. Sounds good.
And we may have to spin up a user story. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. And today there's more defects apparently, so I'm going to keep working on this.
Sounds good. Yesterday spent most of my time working on the high charts loading issue that we have. Still haven't resolved that. There's some weirdness there. The size of our source file became a blocker, so we kind of sat down and played with that. And we got it from 7 megabytes is what it was, or 10, down to, if we run source maps with it, it's right at 2. And if we turn source maps off, it's 1.1. So that's production ready now, which is fantastic.
So that does include vendor files? Or
it does include vendor files. Wow. Yeah, it's really, really cool.
Wow.
So yeah, we'll fight with high charts today, and hopefully I'll be able to actually use our tools now.
I spent most of yesterday reading on JPA and doing the company security videos.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to do that.
Then I made post-it notes where I'm at, so you guys can all see what I've done.
It's like a roll.
It is.
Nicely done.
You're almost there.
There we go. And much smaller roll of what I've done.
So you're not going to QA those?
No, please don't.
You can double check my work.
Okay, so I got the SAS files in place yesterday for global SAS and for variables, and it's looking good. Things are rolling, and I started taking a peek into all of our buttons, and it's going to take probably about as much work as I originally estimated. I'm on one page and I already found 2 or 3 different types of button implementations just via different elements. So there's lots of work there. Oh, and Robert and I determined that I'm going to start documenting every class I remove because we need to keep kind of running tally, and that's going to break automation, I'm sure.
And so automation is using classes for trying to find things. You have to fix that.
We're not using too many classes. We're sticking with IDs, so as long as IDs stay.
Okay.
There's a couple classes, but we'll be aware. And I'll let Mike and Logan know.
Okay.
And actually, we wish those were IDs, I'm pretty sure. So.
Can I guess? Button, span, div?
Right now, the majority of them seem to be buttons themselves. So the one that I just found that's bad is a span with an A tag inside it.
Yeah.
That needs to be restructured in my opinion, but that's not part of this story. Anyway, yeah, that's it.
Okay, I spent all of yesterday working on IV plugin and the iValue code complete, and I will spend today doing that same thing. But I'll be done today, and then I'll start with IMS code complete on Monday. So.
Yesterday, I mentioned that they're going to do a Tableau server maintenance this weekend. We were a little concerned about what that would be. Good news, they're just adding RAM to the server, so we're very much relieved as opposed to what they did last time. So it's good news. Also got some good information on their preparation for what they'll do in the future with their firewall that they want to add. Yesterday, we also worked on some user stories related to offline mode, or at least figuring out some of the elements associated with that. Today we had a demo. It's still going on right now with a UK company. James mentioned it when he was out here on Wednesday. There's a UK company interested in Inspective. So demo seems to be going really well. Find out more after this. And then today I'll also be coordinating with PRM to see if we can get some more information on how they created their app, how they manage some of their offline mode. So, all right, I think that's all I have. Anything else for the group? Okay. All right, guys. And pretty good.
Stand-ups are 15-minute daily meetings that keep everyone in the know and connected throughout the sprint. They aren't long meetings where you get into the details of plans or the status of every single task. They're just quick, informative, dare I say fun, check-ins. Hi, Megan Cook here, Group Product Manager for Jira Software Cloud. In our last series, we talked about sprint planning, the Scrum ceremony where your team meets to discuss what you can deliver during the upcoming sprint and how you'll deliver that work. Once you've started your sprint, you'll hold stand-ups or daily scrums. That's where we'll pick up today. In this episode, we'll cover the basics of stand-ups, what they are, when they happen, who attends, and how to run them. We'll also share a few tips for success. Stand-ups are 15-minute daily meetings to quickly plan for the next 24 hours. They keep everyone on the same page and united as a team. Sharing each person's successes and plans each day gets everyone excited about the project overall and their individual contribution. Stand-ups also help eliminate other meetings, identify blockers, make quick decisions, and build a shared understanding of what everyone is working on. These meetings are typically done in the morning, preferably at the same time and place. And since they're so short, don't even bother booking a conference room. Just remember to gather your development team, your Scrum Master, and product owner in a common area and have everyone stand up the whole time, hence the name. The reason we stand is to keep the high energy and the conversation short. Nobody wants to stand for a whole hour. Now there are 2 common ways to do stand-ups, round robin and walking the board. Let's start with round robin. In this method, everyone goes around the circle and shares their answers to 3 questions. What did I work on yesterday? What am I working on today? And what is blocking me? It's important to take turns and pay attention to your teammates. Some teams like to have a token that each person holds as they talk to emphasize that only one person should be talking at a time. However, when someone on the team is talking about a blocker, others should be encouraged to jump in and volunteer to help if they can. There's also an implicit accountability in reporting the work that you've completed yesterday in front of your peers. No one wants to be that person who's constantly doing the same thing or not making any progress. Another common approach is called walking the board. This is where your team walks through all the work you have on your board, who owns it, and if there are any blockers. Move right to left through the board, talking first about the pieces of work that are closest to done, and how you can work together to get those items shipped. These aren't the only two ways to run a stand-up. There are tons of variations and other methods. We recommend doing what's best for you and your team, whatever that may be. Regardless of the method that you choose, here are a few tips to help you make your stand-ups more productive and effective. First, relegate all side conversations to the 16th minute or after the stand-up is over. Allow anyone in the group to raise the flag whenever the group is getting off topic or needs to move along. Second, walk into the stand-up each day knowing what you're going to say. It keeps that energy high and everyone engaged. Also, make stand-ups part of a larger Scrum framework with sprint planning, sprint reviews, and retrospectives to help you constantly improve and get the right work done. Speaking of constantly improving, if something's not working, make a change. Don't be afraid to get creative and adapt as things change. That's what Scrum and Agile are all about. So that's all for today's intro to stand-ups. But wait, there's more. Follow our channel to learn more about the other Scrum ceremonies to round out your practice and help make your teams as efficient and effective as possible.
Welcome back. My name is Malia Hawk, and I've been with the firm for around 3 years, and I'm currently an associate software engineer in the corporate technology machine learning team. Great job diving into daily stand-up meeting and learning why it is so important in managing an effective Scrum process. In the previous task, you learned about Agile principles and the Scrum methodology, and you developed your own product backlog with story points to prioritize your backlog with the relative level of effort. That's a lot of work. You have now reached the final task in this JPMC software engineering virtual experience. Continuing to wear your developer team hat, in this task, you will learn more about the two remaining events in the sprint cycle, the sprint review and the sprint retrospective. These meetings are key points in the Scrum sprint cycle where increments of working software are demonstrated and compared to the acceptance criteria and the definition of done, and where the team formally considers its own process and teamwork effectiveness and identifies opportunities for improvement. Since this is your final task in the Agile learning process, allow me to congratulate you on a job well done. I hope you feel like you have learned something from this experience, and good luck in your technology career.
Check from SIT, Singapore Institute of Technology. And in this video, we will be talking about the sprint retrospective, which basically marks the end of a sprint cycle in a Scrum process. So the sprint retrospective is a time to reflect, and it normally comes right after the sprint review, in which the team is supposed to be reflecting on the process. And the three things that are supposed to be covered in the sprint retrospective is basically what went well, what did not go so well as several actions that the team needs to commit to in order to improve upon this process. With that, we will be looking at some footage of a recent sprint retrospective that we have done in a real project recently. So we just ended the sprint review and we are conducting the sprint retrospective. So in this video, you see me, who is the Scrum Master, hosting the meeting as usual. And here I've already set up the board to facilitate the discussion in terms of separating the board into three relevant points of discussion for the sprint retrospective. Next, you can also see that I've taken the role of writing everybody's points down so that everyone can see what's up for discussion in our goal towards making the next sprint better. And I'm also having the role of managing all the pace of discussion and making sure that everything that's discussed is relevant to the sprint retrospective for the purpose of improving our process towards the next sprint. So to summarize that, what we improved point was that the stakeholder requirements can be better reflected in the user story, as well as the developers need to read. In this next part of the clip, you can see that I'm trying to clarify points being raised by a certain developer so that it is clear what he's saying is relevant and what he's saying can be used to improve upon the next process. So you can see here that the Scrum Master is the key person in this meeting, because this part of this meeting itself, the sprint retrospective, is actually meant primarily to improve the process of performing Scrum. For example, here in this part of the clip, we can see that this point that's being written down on the board is trying to highlight the fact that the daily Scrum wasn't documented well every day. And the other point that you see below there, the developers were missing out on certain acceptance criteria details that were written on the software that we used to manage the user stories. Other than myself, you can see that in the video the other participants in the sprint retrospective is Kerbun, who is the product owner, as well as obviously the developers. So basically everybody who is tightly involved in the development process itself. So obviously the users and the other stakeholders, they are not involved in the development itself, so they are omitted from this meeting. And actually in reality, the product owner is often also not present in this meeting because in most cases, him being as part of the client wouldn't be tightly involved in the development process. But in our case, Kerbun is actually tightly involved in this whole team. So therefore he's involved in the meeting itself. So the meeting ends when there's agreement on what to do next. That means the last column, something that we commit to improve upon based on all the points raised, so that the next sprint that we embark upon right after this will be much better. So this marks the end of our Scrum series, taken from the perspective of a real software project that we have done recently. So we hope that this has been beneficial to you, and thank you for watching.